National Radio 95.1 Nigeria Info, and welcome to Hard Facts. My name is Kimberly. Call me the Oracle, the Digital Oracle, OTF, the Fellow, or Chanyawan, Madam Speaker, and I will say yes, yes, yes to them all. And yes, Dr. Majeed is here. Majeed Dahiru is a researcher, columnist, and the tech team lead of Luke's Terra Leadership Foundation, our guest analyst for the Midweek special. Dr. Majeed, Ramadan Kareem. We're counting down.
Yeah, we need to count down.
We come and celebrate.
We need to count down. This weather is not funny. It's not funny, you know. I've been asking some scholars to look into the scriptures to see if there is a loophole under this weather, but they've not found any. So.
There is no loophole. You just have to go through it. Yeah, well, I can understand, the season of fast, and then the heat is intense, and then power perhaps not stable in some parts. It can be. But then the season comes with its blessings, so I'm sure that everyone who's gone through the holy month.
Yeah, and we obey.
Yeah. Thank you, though, for making it here to the studio for the conversation. And Dr. Majeed was busy with us all through the 4 weeks of the I Beg to Differ debate. So today I was a tad worried and said, let me send Dr. Majeed a reminder. I don't want to hear that Dr. Majeed forgot our usual midweek special, because we had drilled him all through the week for the I Beg to Differ debate. But he made it here nonetheless. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
I feel like today we're going to do some bit of a catch-up and bring ourselves up to speed with certain stories that are still hogging the headlines. For example, the Akpabio Natasha saga is still pretty much a fresh story. Even though it broke about 3 or 4 weeks back, we didn't get the opportunity on the midweek special to do that, but it's still there. And the people from the constituency that she represents, it seemed like they sent a petition to the Independent National Electoral Commission calling for her recall, to start off the process of the recall, even though there are pockets of people who were interviewed from the constituency who felt like, we're blindsided. We didn't know that it was intended to have Natasha recalled. We thought it was an empowerment program. We thought this, we thought that, but eventually it turned out that was the intention. So they've sent it to INEC. INEC had received it and also said there were some discrepancies in certain areas that they're setting protocols that should be followed in all of this, and they should get it all together. However, the senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha has criticized Independent National Electoral Commission for not outrightly rejecting the petition seeking her recall, describing the commission's response as an indication of bias. INEC, in a statement on Tuesday signed by the National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumekun, confirmed receiving the petition, which reportedly contained signatures from more than half of the 474,554 registered voters in the senatorial district. However, the electoral body noted that the petition failed to include essential details such as the contact addresses, the phone numbers, email addresses of the petitioners as required under the Commission's regulation and guideline for recall 2024. In response, Natasha, through her lawyer, Victor Giwa, in a letter dated the 26th of March, accused INEC of compromising its neutrality by offering guidance to the petitioners instead of declaring the petition incompetent due to procedural flaws. They're saying that for you to even advise them on how to do it right is a problem. I just felt like INEC should have said, this did not meet the guidelines, and so we threw it out the window. But INEC decided, this is the right thing to do, but you didn't do it right, so go sort this out, or else, stuff like that. So this is where we are. A lot of people, I've heard some school of thought say this is politically motivated, the recall attempt. While others are saying, the constituents need to be represented, and it's unfair not to get that representation in 6 months. Others have argued and said, instead of them to be calling for a recall, they should be pressing on the National Assembly to have Natasha reinstated, while others are saying they're well within their right to demand for a recall. But in all of this and where we are at the moment, I'm a little curious to get your thought on this, because we've not had the opportunity to build on this since the news broke. Do you think they will get their act right and then go back and do the right signature and their address so that INEC can follow through? Are we seeing a recall possibility in sight?
Well, let's start from the recall, right? And the statement from INEC and the counter statement from the distinguished senator to the effect that INEC should have just thrown away the entire process since it had some flaws in terms of procedure. Okay, first, it is within the right of citizens to elect a representative, and the Constitution also empowers them to recall such a representative when they feel like doing that. So in this instance, yes, we're in a democracy, and there's no democracy without politics. Politics of power play, who gets what, when and how, and all that. So those who are her opponents, those who believe she should not have been in the Senate in the first place, and those who mostly voted against her, definitely will be the ones at the forefront of trying to convince others who may have voted for her before to say, look, we told you guys, we need to recall her. And what is the basis for those who want to recall, what is the basis for the recall? From what I've heard some of them say, yes, the fact that she'll be suspended for 6 months, and that may translate to about almost a year of...
half a year,
almost, that's 6 legislative months. I think when you stretch it, it's about a year, calendar year or so, or thereabout, I don't know. And so that they cannot stay that long without having representation in the National Assembly. So since somehow she and the Senate are not able to sort out themselves, okay, they need somebody else to be there and all that. So this is the position of those who want to recall her. Why those who feel they are opposed to the recall also think that she's a victim of high-power politics in the National Assembly, and that her constituents should be sympathetic to her this time, and should be prevailing, correctly pointed out, prevailing on the Senate President or the Senate to suspend her suspension or lift her suspension and all that. So it's all it depends on the side of the divide. And they all have right to their opinion, have right to their actions. Those who have written to INEC to say want to recall her have their rights. Those who are opposing the recall have their equally entitled to that right under the Constitution. The only thing we can tell INEC now as the body that's responsible to conduct elections and conduct recall is to make sure that it is done freely, fairly. Without any form of compromise or electoral subterfuge. As simple as that. So those who want to recall her, if they can muster the numbers indeed in line with the constitutional provision and in compliance with INEC guidelines, if they're able to recall her with the numbers, good luck to them. For those who are opposing the recall, I'm sure they will be able to mobilize me to say no to the eventual referendum that may be conducted in the process. And they're able to defeat those who want to muster the number by denying them that number. Good luck to them. So it's that's politics for you. I mean,
but is a recall even possible? I know they've tried in Kogi State. The recent one I recall is Dinomalai, and it just didn't go even halfway before.
Well, it's possible.
It feels like it's one of the most difficult things to pull off.
It's not been achieved before. It's not been done before in Nigeria. But the fact that it is still there, people will keep trying. I mean, the first time people flew an aircraft, it was something that was not done for a long time. So people will keep trying. You know, politicians, they will keep trying. It's as long as that provision is there. So what is important is that recall is not illegal. It's not unconstitutional. But it is easy to achieve. It's another different ball game. All that is achievable. One thing is sure, it's not easy to achieve. Because the stringent condition is also to guarantee legislative independence. If it is to recall a legislator by the snap of a finger, it means you would have destroyed an arm of a democratic government, which is the most important for that matter, the legislature. So it's pretty difficult, except such a legislature has truly lost confidence, overwhelming confidence of his or her constituents. It is difficult. So it's like a safeguard to the Constitution to say, yes, you have the option of recalling, but it must be that such a person must have done something that is so abominable that the entire district or constituency, almost everybody is now saying, no, he or she must come back home. Fine. So why that is left there, that there's a possibility that such a person could happen to a constituency, really. Somebody could perform so poorly, somebody could do something that is so abhorrent, really, that an entire constituency can decide to say, look, more than 2/3 of us, or more than half of us, are saying come back home. So that is like a safeguard too for us as the ordinary people to say, whenever that happens, though. But right now, you have a senator that won an election. She was quite popular. She's still popular among
pretty
the
much,
segment of. So it's like, both of them should go to the field and test it out. As simple as that. So this is not the case where, for example, you can say for certain that with what she has done, they will recall her. It's no longer, it's a no-brainer. So it's something that needs to be tested. So INEC, one look at INEC is just be fair, be firm. Give those who want to recall her their right to attempt the recall. Those who are going to oppose the recall, allow them also to oppose the recall. And whatever the result, whatever the outcome is, just like it was in the case of Dino, announce it to the world and everybody go back to rest. So again, that clause, that avenue for recall is to safeguard the people. To say, look, when you elect somebody, not a fait accompli, you can recall this person. It also makes legislators to do well, knowing that there's an option of recall. So it kind of safeguards your interest. But to make it stringent too, it was just safeguard the interest of the legislator to say, look, in case of other guys just sit down and feel they can be calling people and recalling.
Because I can understand the average Nigerian system, if it becomes that easy, there'll be constant recall every market day.
So the question is quite balanced on this. So that I said, recall may become possible in very extreme cases where somebody has really lost absolute confidence. Now, whether Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan has lost confidence to that extent, INEC will tell us during the referendum. But for now, one thing is certain: it is difficult, and it is deliberately so, and it is rightly so. But what I cannot say is, will it succeed this time?
This time,
I don't. Only INEC has that answer.
All right.
Because I don't belong to any of the warring factions.
Indeed.
And nobody should even if you're a member of the APC or the PDP, you shouldn't know that this will succeed, because that means you know something that even INEC does not know.
Perhaps you give the impression that you're already manipulating the process.
So only INEC can tell on the day of the referendum, when they see the process through. But those who are trying to recall have a right
to exercise.
And INEC must be there to also.
Well, if it's altruistic, and if it's in the interest of the people and the constituency that she represents, because it can also be politically motivated.
Well, democracy is about politics. I mean,
it can also be that there's a puppet master controlling all the strings and saying, go forward and have this woman recalled.
That puppeteered those who supported her to support her. Some people puppeteered those who opposed her to oppose her in the election. It is a never-ending game of politics. And so there are people whose interest it is to get out of the Senate. There are people whose interest it is to make her remain there. So if these forces are going to balance themselves out on the battlefield, battle here does not mean guns and bullets. So, I mean, electoral battle. So INEC, all I'm saying is INEC, please, we don't want to hear or see credible evidence of manipulation of process or any form of electoral recall, subterfuge. Do it freely and let it be open.
All right, let it be open.
Everybody be satisfied, whatever the outcome is, either for or against.
Can it be said to be open then, the whole Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petition, where they had the opportunity of hearing perhaps some side of the allegation tabled by Senator Natasha? They have come to dismiss the petition, though, by Kogi Central Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, accusing the Senate President, Godswill Akpabio, of sexual harassment. The petition, signed by one Zubairu Yakubu, who described himself as a concerned Nigerian citizen from Kogi Central Senatorial District, accused Mr. Akpabio of sexually harassing Mrs. Akpoti-Uduaghan. The petition also alleged abuse of office and obstruction of legislative duty by the senator. The petition was presented on the floor of the Senate by Natasha Akpoti on the 5th of March, minutes before she was controversially suspended from the upper legislative chamber. I was thereafter referred to the Ethics Committee chaired by Edo South Senator Neda Emasue for review. And on Tuesday, Mr. Yakubu appeared before the committee in company of his legal counsel and the former Minister of Education, Obios Ekwesili. However, he refused to proceed with his testimony unless his principal witness, Mrs. Akpoti-Uduaghan, was allowed to be present at the National Assembly. Let's go on a very quick break. When we return, we'll build on this. Hello. My name is Kimberly. I'm the host of Hard Facts, and I bring you the biggest stories driving conversation every weekday here on 95.1 Nigeria Info Hard Fact Show. I love to get your opinion and conjectures, but the facts you cannot dispute here on Hard Facts. Join me and let's talk. right, it's the Big Three Midweek special with Majeed Dahiru. And just to let you know that we're live on Facebook and YouTube at Nigeria Info Abuja, Facebook at Nigeria Info Abuja. You can leave your comments there and follow the conversation there also. So we're talking about the committee meeting and which a petition was taken to them. And to just build on that for those who perhaps haven't heard all sides of what truly transpired, the petition was presented on the floor of the Senate. And, the petitioner said, Senator Akpoti Odoha needed to be present at the National Assembly and accused the committee chairman of bias, making reference to previous public statement where Mr. Emasuen reportedly described the petition as dead on arrival. That if the chairman has already declared the petition dead even before hearing, how can we expect fairness? One of the committee members even went on national TV to claim that he was a principal witness for the Senate president. How then can we trust the process, Mr. Zuberi said. Following heated verbal exchange between committee members and Mr. Yakubu, the Senate committee dismissed the petition on the ground that the matter was already before a court. And the decision generated further heated argument as Mr. Yakubu questioned why he had been summoned if the committee already knew the case was pending in court. Why he called me forward then if they knew he was in court? His legal counsel, Mrs. Akiode, echoed the sentiment and criticized the inconsistency in the Senate's handling of the petition. And then we also had the trade-off, the war of words between Obieze Kwesili and Ebonyi North Senator Onyekachi, who engaged in heated verbal exchange. The altercation began after Mrs. Ezekwesili accused the committee of bias, prompting Mr. Nwebonyi to confront her over her choice of words, and she told the senator to shut up, which led him to flare up, demanding to know why the former minister will be talking to a senator in such a manner. And, it led to other heated words because names were called and said she was a disgrace to womanhood, and it just went on back and forth. I know she was on a TV program where she said, you know what? I am proud of myself. I'm pleased with what I said. And I'm glad that it was on national TV in which the whole world would get to see how women are treated. And even women who are high up there can also be a victim of the system. All of this and how it is playing out. I feel like the plot twist gets, I don't know if it's interesting or it's getting a tad boring, but it is what it is at this point in time. But what do you make of the fact that this petition wasn't one that the committee was ready to listen to?
Okay. Sexual harassment allegations against the Senate president. The petition was submitted to the Senate and it was referred to that committee to report back in 4 weeks. Now, the Senate has a rule actually. It is true that they have a rule that when the case is already in court, take note, already in court, already, the National Assembly or the legislative arm of government is not supposed to actually intervene until court processes are exhausted. Similarly, when the matter is already before the National Assembly, particularly when that matter is being attended to by its own internal rules that the Constitution allows it to actually use in moderating its own affairs, no court can actually also intervene in stopping it. This is so to ensure separation of powers and checks and balances effectively. So, for instance, if the National Assembly is about to attend to the budget of the Federation, no court can stop that process. No court can stop the National Assembly from functioning. Now, so all matters considered part of the function of the National Assembly cannot be interrupted by a court process. However, if a matter that even concerns the National Assembly is already lodged in court before actions commences, the National Assembly also cannot also attend to such a matter. So, what are the facts here? When the distinguished Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan made that allegation on Arise TV to the effect that the Senate president sexually harassed her and has been victimizing her because of that.
Based on that, yeah.
On that term, on that regard. You will discover that, or you will realize, it's a public knowledge that the wife of the Senate president responded that same day and almost immediately filed a lawsuit against Senator Natasha on behalf of herself, her children, her husband, as part of, they call it fiduciary relationship between you and somebody who's been, So that case is what the Senate keeps referring to. that this subject matter around sexual allegation is already in court at the instance of this man's wife on behalf of the family. This is what they keep referring to. And this court case was instituted before her petition was presented on the floor of the Senate. Meaning, the court case concerning sexual harassment by Senate President's wife commenced before she submitted the petition to the floor. Or before it was now referred to the Ethics Committee. That's on one hand. Some people also argue that afterwards she also went to court to get an edition order against the same committee from attending to disparate issues concerning her own matter that was pending for the committee, arising from her, the embroglio that took place on the floor, her refusal to take the seat that was allocated to her and all of that. Now, in this instance, when that drama took place on the floor, when she refused to go to her seat, and all that, and that matter was referred to the Police Committee that same day. So the National Assembly is deemed to have commenced action on that matter through its disciplinary committee before she went to court to get an injunction. And that was why the injunction was eventually vacated by the judge, said that the court truly cannot intervene in the matter that is already in process in the National Assembly. It's good to clear up this matter because I discovered that this matter has been muddled up so much. That most people seem to want to throw the baby and the bathwater, right into the lagoon without even looking back. So it's good to separate these matters. So it's on this basis that I believe that the Senate Committee on Prudent Ethics, I listened to the chairman, he said 2 reasons. Number 1, we are being accused of bias by representatives here, the petitioner, her legal team and all that. And the fact that it's even in court in the first place. So for these 2 reasons, we are not attending to this matter until the court case is exhausted. So we are adjourning Senate die, that is, we are adjourning till forever until the court case is decided. Now, did the committee really handle it very professionally? I would say no in one regard, and I'll tell you that. I watched that incident too on TV. The chairman of the committee, Ned Maswin, actually was on TV, and I remember telling somebody around me to say, how can you be a chairman of an important committee like Privileges Committee, Ethics and Privileges Committee, that is going to attend to the petition at this time against Senator Natasha for violating Senate rules? And on the day you are supposed to commence sitting, in the morning that you're on TV speaking on the matter. It's like a judge coming to TV to speak on the matter that's before you. So I faulted the man seriously. I said, no. That should we use this as an opportunity to discredit this committee, and she'll be right to do that. And the way he spoke and defended the Senate President. So for me, that was indiscretion. That was gross incompetence on the part of the chairman of that committee. Without prejudice to his intention, without prejudice to the rightness or the wrongness of Senator Natasha's complaint. That's not even the issue. The issue is, we are sitting in judgment over any matter because the Ethics and Privileges Committee is like a quasi-judicial body. Yes. It's like the judicial arm of the National Assembly itself. It has quasi-judicial power. It can summon somebody, can issue a bench warrant. That committee, you see, yes. Not those are members of or not those are the members of the National Assembly or Senate, but it's called Public Petitions Committee, Public Petitions, Ethics and Privileges. It's a very powerful committee. So you shouldn't have been anywhere near any media house talking on a matter that is before you, in whatever form, at all. So they are using that appearance of media in the media to say, you have already betrayed your bias. So I cannot fault the petitioners for alleging bias against the chairman because he gave them the alibi to hold on to. Why? What are you doing on TV? Are you craving so much for publicity that you jump at every opportunity to go on TV and speak on the matter that is before you? They are going to attend to that same day. It was an own goal on the part of the committee chairman. Yes. But again, this is without prejudice to the facts before the committee or the public. Anyway, since this thing has been modeled up in the National Assembly and there's a loss of confidence in that committee by this distinguished senator, the advice I've always given on this matter and in some other media intentions I've had, simple. Go to court, sue Akpabio to court for sexual harassment and claim damages. Secondly,
which she hasn't done till date, has she?
She has not done that. I'm not aware she's done that. Except maybe
because even when the last time she was on the floor, she was saying, I haven't taken these kids to court just yet for sexual harassment.
When they told her that the matter was already in court, she said she had not taken it. No,
the sexual harassment, yeah.
Senate President wives. This matter, your matter to court. She has sued you to court for defamation of the family arising from this allegation. Yeah. So based on that, you have to go and defend yourself. They are probably proof. So that was what they tried to. But she has not gone to court. And I'm not aware. She may have gone, I don't know. Of course, I'm not the registrar of the Federal High Court, so I don't know that she's going to court. But assuming, but not necessarily sure that she hasn't gone to court, I would say file a case of sexual harassment in court now. Most importantly, also petition the Nigerian police force. I have to talk about independent inquiry. Nothing more independent than an independent arm of government like the judiciary. Go to the judiciary. There is no other way to do it. If you cannot get judges in the Supreme, they say that because you feel that the Senate President has an overbearing influence on that committee, and because of the conduct of the committee chairman himself, perfect. Go to court. From the court before the court even decide, you cannot petition the police for criminal infringement on your fundamental human rights or harassment by the SP. The SP does not have immunity. He can be invited by the police for interrogations, and if they find anything indicted on him, he can be charged to a magistrate court for that matter. So she should follow these 2 steps and pursue it assiduously. But it is important to always mention that, you see, this is quite different from the issue that led to a suspension. And this is where we need to separate matter, because when we did this, we're helping all parties. We're helping the senator in question that's aggrieved. We're helping the National Assembly and the Senate presidency. And we're also helping the general public. What we witnessed was simple. A situation where the chief whip raised an observation to the Senate President that Senator Natasha's seat has been reallocated as at that day, and she should be to take a new seat. This was the initial wahala. And that was what was referred to the committee to look into. And from there, 2 or 3 days later, I think 2 days later, on TV, not on the floor, not on that day that she was to take her seat, she made that allegation in the public, which added a new twist to the issue of violation of Senate rules on seat. I mean,
because she said quite a lot on that day, giving the impression that there was something more than just the change of her seat.
Now, what has been established, you see, I've listened to all sides of the stories. It has been established that changing of seat has been a routine thing in the Senate. At the instance of the Senate President through the chief whip. And that on the day her seat was changed, 5 other senators' seats, or 4 other senators, were also changed. As I'm talking to you, I do not even know the names of those senators because they didn't protest it. It's not in the news. And the number of senators have spoken, a number, as Adam Soshomole, or Jikalu, a number of senators have spoken and said, our seats have been changed at least 2 times so far. Senator Tikiki said, have been changed twice. So that has been established. It is a normal, whenever there is a defection from year to year, seats are usually that, yeah. And according to the Senate spokesperson, I'm quoting him, Adaramodu, he said, when he attended the first sitting of the Ethics Committee on this matter of seat reallocation and if you have to take a new seat, that the Senate at arms under oath said that in line with their procedure, whenever seats are reallocated, the Senate at arms is expected to call the senator in question and give prior information on the new development. And that he did that in this instance. But that she came in 30 minutes earlier to protest that change to the plenary. This was the statement according to the Senate spokesperson. And I've not had a counter to this statement. I'm trying to say it. Everybody has been saying what happened. So this was, I was not there, nobody was there, but this is what came out from the Senate spokesperson. And one thing that is sure is change of seat is routine. It has been established. And that this is not peculiar or uniquely her case. So meaning that, okay, if this is the case, that seats are changed, and on that day, 5 of you senators had your seats changed. Because 3 senators from the PDP side of the aisle had moved to the
defected,
APC,
yeah.
So there was need to reshuffle and fill up the seat because, there is this stratified seating arrangement in the National Assembly, leadership, senior ranking people and all that. So they sometimes reallocate these seats to bring people a little bit closer, to the front part of the whatever. So that was what happened. So on this basis, it has been established that seat reallocation is a routine. Now, if you fear that there's something behind it, which in this case, like I've always said, rules are rules. And let me emphasize this. Rules are rules and they are meant to be obeyed. But in applying the rules it shouldn't be applied in a manner that shows malice or disdain.
I was going to come to that, because you could actually have rules that can be abused by pressing in authority.
Now, if I were in her shoes, once I realized that this city relocation, maybe it doesn't come to my notice before that people have been relocated severally, and that on the same day, I wasn't just the one that was relocated, 5 of us were relocated, and the fact that every member of the National Assembly, or of the Senate that day, including the leader of the minority caucus, Abamoro, all came to you to plead to take your new seat. If I were her shoes, I would take my new seat and apologize to the House for that incident of disobedience of the rules, and the matter will end there. Now, if I now feel that even this stage of seat, are you sure it's not because of elaborate allegations now? This man was trying to do it. Are you sure? I will now generate my petition afresh and petition the man. You see, satisfy all righteousness first. There's a rule. You see, if everybody is allowed to violate the rule, and everybody tries to sit where they are not allocated, that place should be a madhouse. So there's a reason why House treated loose in the Senate. You are representing 109th Senatorial District. So there's some level of order. Even at that, sometimes they fight themselves, they fight, they almost to the other apart. Imagine there are no strict rules to guide conduct. So this one is a given. So it has been established overwhelmingly.
But in spite of all of this, Dr. Majeed, you stated the obvious, the reality of what a lot of people have pointed out also. But should they also give a listening ear over the petition?
I'm saying
allegation of sexual harassment at this point in time.
Your issue. The first thing you should have done was to apologize for violating that sitting arrangement. If she didn't do it that day, that she was still angry, maybe she was still feeling that there was malice behind it. The day you resumed, the next day of plenary, and you came and you sat on that newly allocated seat to you, from there, apologize to the Senate. If you still have to go to that committee, go to them and apologize to them. They cannot suspend you because you've apologized. They can't suspend you. You not take back your seat and now bring this petition of sexual harassment. Simple.
All right.
And you can even explain in the committee to give. And that's what I would have done. No? If she really wanted to bring out the matter, she would have come to that committee and said, I am sorry. I apologize to the Nigerian Senate. I apologize to my colleagues for violating the rules. But I felt that the rule was being applied with malice because so as I transparent before. They will now leave because nobody can now suspend you because you apologized. Even the day she was being suspended, there was a clause. If she apologizes for the reason she's being suspended, it will be rescinded.
Yeah.
Even when the members didn't agree, so the president used his power to turn it upside down to say those who didn't agree are in the minority, while those who agreed are in the majority, just to give that window. I'm saying, look, nobody should encourage any form of, violation of rules as much as possible. If she has done this matter would have gained serious traction because it would not be here. But look into this other matter. You follow it tactically. Now, the Senate President has denied the allegation. He did it on that same day she presented the petition.
As expected.
Until you prove him guilty, you can't crucify him. If the Senate President is meant to step down on allegation of sexual allegation or of harassment, then okay. We just wait. Once don't like any Senate President, we can just tell someone to say, so these are issues. So that's why no matter how you want to believe, no matter how you hate the other party, you must follow the right process to get justice for yourself and for the people. So what you should have done is simple. Petition after you've cleared this other issue of cheating arrangement, to make sure that you don't get suspended, you sit inside, you're not fighting what we did. You now submit a petition.
All right.
Come by way for that. So I have a complaint. This man has been. Now, he will deny, yes, but it will be referred to the committee now, and the public will not be watching. And if you don't get justice there, you can also concurrently go to court and go to the police, knowing that you're not going to get justice in the, in the National Assembly. However, in doing this, there's one thing that you must attach to it.
Which is?
You see, when you make an allegation against somebody, basic evidence must be attached. It can't be your word against his. But when people say this, people come to say, you can't always prove it. I say, no. And you cannot prove, don't bring it to the public. Oh. You can write it in your memoir. But if you must bring to the public and expect action to be taken, you have to. And when you say proof, it's not. We don't want to take conclusion with evidence. Let me give you 2 examples. Even before EFCC can investigate the matter, the petitioner must attach some level of okay. What looks like this is plausible. Let us take a look at it. For instance, if you allege that I've stolen public funds as a governor and you wrote to the FCC, you must attach payment voucher to show that this payment is suspicious. That voucher, that those payment financial instruments, is what the FCC now rely upon to look at it critically and say, this looks suspicious indeed. Oh yeah, Mr. Governor, come here. Come and explain this. So when he or she can no longer explain satisfactorily, and they now go to do the investigation through the banks and other kind of indictment, I'm sure this money you paid out. This company you paid it for. No, something is, come and go to court. We have established, I think, things against you. That is how it's done. For instance, you were in this country when sexual harassment allegations broke out or rocked the Nigerian university system. If you remember, the victims, those young girls that were victims, having come under repeated harassment by their lecturers, got in touch with the media, BBC, and they carried out a sting operation. Where we didn't see them pants down per se, but we saw some kind of statement from the lecturers, some kind of gestures, some kind of very amorous. Man talked about 5, whatever. We heard something that was suggestive. That why is the influence as a lecturer? Why have you got a conversation with your student? Most of the lecturers went in for it. In fact, the public, nobody came out to defend. I can't remember anybody who came out to query those allegations because we could see. But even the court of law, this alone is not enough. You still have to go and put beyond the
I wanted to say if it's that one. We saw on video where a man was stashing money in his babaniga. Nothing happened. And so you sometimes...
Today, it has remained, it's like it has been a dent, a blight on the comment of both President Buhari and the current one. For making such a man chairman of the party. It's a dent. It's like the state you failed. So in this case, if you have such an evidence and the state does not act, we will not focus on the state. Till the kingdom come, we'll keep talking about Gandon. It has nothing they can do about it all. Till the kingdom come. Well, it's there. I've not seen anybody that come out to defend him on that matter. Don't also forget, when there was this issue of subsidy scam in Nigeria.
$10, okay.
$10 and Farouk Lawan, you forgot him. Obasanjo made a statement in Ota. You forgot what happened. Obasanjo was one who blew the alarm. The National members are very corrupt, this, that. He made a very blanket statement. And this assembly responded and hit him back to say, you can't tell all of us, blah, blah, blah. They were defensive. He now invited the speaker then, Tambuwa, and showed him the evidence of what he was referring to. That is, the audio recording of the conversation between Farouk Lawan and $10, seeking for bribe, the transaction bribe, and all that. The man served the jail term. I think he just released recently.
Yeah.
What have I said in that sense? So she should have also been ready to attach something that looks like, something that is
has been a bit tactical in just plotting and just waiting for the right moment.
No, if I were in her shoes, but I'm not. However, whatever it is, she has a right to be heard.
Indeed.
Now, like I said, the National Assembly has become muddled up. Court case here, we have lots of confidence in the committee itself, which has a right to, because like I said earlier, that committee chairman didn't charge himself. Like an independent chairman of such a committee. She should go to court and she should be sure to attach something that...
So that's the next best step. Going to court with this, because it's like you pointed out, it's modeled up to a point where it's just open to all kinds of interpretation and sentiment.
It's only the judiciary can resolve this matter. The police, the judiciary. But my worry is, if only she had simply made an atonement for civil violation, she would have been sitting pretty in the Senate now, fighting this matter. And if she's now suspended based on this allegation, even for it is asserted in court, we can now raise the placard against the Senate president without looking as though we don't know what we're doing.
All right, then. Well, let's get feedback. We've been talking. We need to let you contribute, dear listener. Let's get your perspective on the conversation we're having with our guest on the Midweek special today. Okasi Uche says, good to see you, sir, back in the studio. Ramadan Kareem to you. And Akukini Samson says, welcome, Dr. Majeed. You're doing great. Sunday Okewu says, welcome back. All right, I think a lot of these are welcome back messages. They missed the program for 4 weeks. However, I'm happy he's back. And Pauline says, good afternoon. We missed you for so long because of the debate, but welcome back. Chidi Peter, I see all of you and your welcome backs. Dinabo, Bob Manuel, I see you also. On Facebook, there are quite a number of the comment also. Adama Kashim, it's still sending Ramadan message and welcome back to Dr. Majeed. Let's look at WhatsApp. Natasha's case is a case that no matter how far she's gone and the court is gone to, I don't believe with the court and judges would have justice. Mike from Area 1. Having followed the unfolding event in the Nigerian polity for some time now, I would say that the seat relocation was targeted at Senator Natasha Akpotu-Uduaghan. The other 3 senators were involved in the cover-up. We all know what we do to junior female students in secondary school when we propose friendship and they turn us down. In order to cast your deed, you dare not punish her directly, but if you indirectly overdo, it sends signal to her and it implodes. Akpabio knows what this woman is talking about. It's just using the institution he heads as a shield, says Israel.
I think I need to respond to this.
Okay.
A senator is not a school child, it's not a school girl. Senator Natasha is not a Akpabio's staff or his intern or an intern in his office. A senator is a principality. No senator can be intimidated by the leadership of the Senate. It's not possible. Akpabio as a Senate president cannot deny Natasha her legitimate rights and privileges. No matter how he loads her, he can't do it. The only thing he may deny her extra play that comes with maybe camaraderie, friendship, or solidarity. I don't know if you understand. No Senate president, no president can do that.
But then she's also implied some time back, I recall, during one of the interviews saying the issue of Ajokuta following through that the Senate president, he felt
there are some things I don't want to really go into. It will appear as though this thing has been muddled up so much. Now, but for clarity, her bill or her motion on Ajokuta was taken on the floor. A committee was set up. I attended the Senate committee hearing on that. An investigation was conducted. That is, her wishes were granted. I was there.
Right.
That's something I don't want to go into. But I've made a general statement.
All right.
For the interest of the listening public, no senator can be so intimidated. It's not possible. The way Senate is structured, because you know why? Those 109 senatorial districts you see in the federation are largely structured along ethno-geographic nationalities. So each of the nationalities, the major nationalities, are the ones who have representatives there. Then the broken down levels are what you see in the House of Reps. So as she's representing a major ethnic nationality in Nigeria from Kogi State. So the Senate President knows that this is not the person. This is the slot of one of the 109 constituencies in Nigeria. Like I said, the only way, the highest you can suffer is the